we don't second guess. Unapologetic, we're bold and we're loud, shining light on the left shady crowd. Oreo Express, rolling down the track, exposing the lies, ain't no turning back. Conservative fire, we're speaking the truth. At Oreo Express, this one's for you. So grab your boots, let's take a stand for freedom, faith, and the heart of this land. Oreo Express, let's roll, let's go. So grab your boots, let's take a stand for freedom, faith, and the heart of this land. Oreo Express.
Celebrate our newest launch, Rev 7. I'm bringing you an amazing introductory offer, plus an exclusive overstock sale that you're not going to want to miss. Rev 7 is our premium energy drink that tastes great and gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. That's because there's no sugar and no caffeine. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7 that for a limited time you can try our 3-pack absolutely free. Or check out our Percale bed sheets. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes, only $29.88, even the queens and kings. Inventory is extremely limited, so order now.
That's right, folks. Extremely limited. It's great to be partnered with MyPillow. I'm telling you, you guys want to help out an American-made product. You help us out here at Oreo Express as well. Head over to mypillow.com. Check out all the great products they have, and make sure you use promo code Oreo for substantial discounts and savings, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I don't even know what today is. Let's see here. One of my phones will have it. It is Wednesday, October 15th. We are back in the Oreo Express studio. Thank you all so much for riding along with us over the weekend and for a week now. We appreciate you. Can't do it without you all. We had an exciting time, but boy, it was good to be back. It was good to be back. We had a lot of ups and downs as every trip we take. We actually got our replacement phone back. Our replacement phone. It's not hooking up. I have to go to AT&T because in order to transfer numbers. So I want to show you. I wasn't able to show you in the live stream, but if you guys weren't there during when I talked about it, I think it was Friday night. I went out to dinner after I left the Portland Ice facility. Turn that down. I can't hear myself and think at the same time. And I go to this restaurant and I'm in there eating, going through social media, posting videos. That's what we do. And when I left, I put my phone in the hoodie. And when I leaned into the car, it must have fell out. So I backed out, didn't realize it. I ran it over. I got back to the hotel and I'm like, where's my phone? I go to the car. I'm looking under the seat. I couldn't find it. I look on my other phone, the Find My app, and it said it was at the restaurant. And I was thinking to myself, I hope I didn't drop it. But, and then as I drive back the 10, 12 minutes to the restaurant. And when I pull in right where I was parked, I looked and I seen something. And I was like, oh, there it is. And then I noticed that the case was like mangled off. And I told you guys the story when I was thinking about upgrading to the 17, or my older son. He was like, Dad, I've been looking at a lot of reviews. He's much more probably techie than I am. And he goes, I don't know. But I was actually surprised. This got ran over by a phone or a car. And as you can see, it cracked the camera right there. And then if you look, it is bent. Let's see if you can see that. Not much. But it's literally bent, and the phone didn't crack. The only thing it did right there is like right where this button is, it messed that up, and this button right here won't work. Well, in order to transfer the phone number from this phone to the replacement, the new one. It's got the case on it now, both orange. You got to have MAGA orange. You got to hit the side button twice. And I can hit it all day long. It doesn't pull up Siri. It doesn't pull up anything. And so I'm going to have to go to AT&T after the show, get that transferred, and get that sent back. I was worried it was going to cost us, another phone, $13.99 or whatever that phone is. And we had insurance, so it was like $250 or $275. I don't have the paperwork; it's over there. But that was one of the downs. But we had a lot of ups, guys. We got a lot of great coverage, and I believe old Uncle Bill's in the chat. I haven't even said hello to you all. Let me do that. Let me go up to the top here. Nola, what's up? Trina, Texas Bigfoot, Susan, old Uncle Bill. Hey, old Uncle Bill, did you get your hat today or yesterday? Rachel thought it was yesterday. I thought I said Wednesday. Darlene, he's got the light up Trump hat now that he won in a raffle. Melissa, Nola, thank you so much for the cards, Nola. And Rachel loved her birthday card, and Caden loved his little Bronco. He goes, Bronco? Thank you. Let's see who else. Darlene, tennis lover, what's up? B Mikey with that beautiful American flag. Trina, Karen Sunflower in the house. She shared it to 3 sites. Thank you. Appreciate you all. Jay Lynn's in the house. Let me get down to the bottom. I think that was it. And Ann Lake and Big Dumb Guy. That's me, the Big Dumb Guy. So again, thank you. And let's see, did Uncle Bill respond? I don't see if OUB in here at the bottom. So yeah, we sent out that hat to the Uncle Bill, and he should have got it today. So we got a lot to talk about today, by the way. I've got to go look at the mailbox. All right, cool deal. They're having a hearing on the Voting Rights Act. We're going to talk about that. Going to talk about how they actually got demolished. Like, there's no way the Supreme Court can actually rule that the Voting Rights Act is constitutional anymore. It's absolutely racist. Whenever they say names like the Voting Rights Act, you're like, oh my God, that's so great. We got to have rights. Just like Prop 57 in California, the Safe Neighborhoods and Schools Act. What idiot wouldn't vote for that? Well, what did it do? It let criminals out of jail early. It gave them less sentence time. The people that you want behind bars because they're just everyday common criminals that keep repeating. Just absolutely insane. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the shutdown. We got a lot to talk about the shutdown. And we're also going to be talking about some of the border stuff going on, what Los Angeles did last night, what they voted to do. They voted to take your tax dollars to give to illegal aliens. Typical Democrats. We've known for a long time that Democrats put illegal aliens ahead of American citizens. We're going to get into that as well. And we're going to start off with some clown world stuff, guys. It's going to be absolute clown world. We're going to talk about Nancy Pelosi getting called out on the steps of the Capitol about holding back the National Guard on January 6th, and she loses it. So it's going to be absolutely epic. If I can ask you, please hit that share button, hit that like button. And we appreciate you guys more than you know. And thanks to everybody that donated to help us get there and have hotel rooms. Again, we are 100% viewer funded. We don't get money from anything else. And we just want to say thank you. Let's get it. What was my first one on the docket today? So yesterday when we were driving, and at the end, I'm probably going to show you a video. It's probably, I don't know how long it's going to be, but Trump had a press conference with some of the national security, the FBI, Kash Patel, and we're going to be playing some of that so you can hear what he says. But look at this. You guys know if you were doing the ride along with us last night, it was raining in some areas. Well, good thing we missed this. Take a look. Let's see. Take a look at this right here. Look at the I-5 closed down. Good thing we took the 99, right? That was from that rain yesterday. Cars trying to make it through. Where, again, California roads, the most highest tax state in the country. And we can't even, thanks to Gavin Newsom, we can't put the money where our infrastructure, where it needs to be. I thought that was absolutely good that we missed that, because we did get some good rain on the way down. How about this? This was from Libs of TikTok. It says, newly released video shows Keith Ellison, the Minnesota Attorney General, not clapping for military veterans arriving on an honor flight to visit memorials in Washington, D.C. I think most of you know what the honor flights are. We've seen them numerous times. There's so many that come out of Fresno. They raise money so that our veterans can go, and they give them a tour of some of the memorials in Washington, D.C. It's all covered. They raise money and they send them there. A lot of times, really, most of these people are very elderly. And I seen this video, and again, this kind of highlights your typical Democrat. Take a look. He's the only one not clapping that's standing right here. Almost it's frustrating. Even the guy sitting down is clapping as he's working. I don't know what it is with Democrats, guys. They just ate everything we should love about this country, especially the men and women who put on that uniform and have put on that uniform and serve to protect me and you, the rights that we have from enemies, foreign, and hopefully soon to be domestic. When you see what's going on last night in Chicago, we're going to talk a little bit about this. Probably going to be a longer show because there's only one show today. But when you see that, you're like, I don't need the National Guard. We need the Marines in there. Just my opinion. How about this? I'm going to show you a video of Kamala Harris. I know you all love Kamala. And I want to take a second to talk about this. Listen to what she says. Listen to what she says during this little interview. She's talking about her book, and she's trying to push the book. And listen to this. Hold on.
That is a decent resume, but go ahead.
Well, some people have actually said I was the most qualified candidate ever to run for president.
I like the some people say. Very nice, but go ahead.
I'm just speaking fact.
Yeah.
She's speaking fact right there. Some people have actually said I was the most qualified candidate to ever run for president. Now, I don't know about you. She couldn't answer a question. She needed an actual large news agency to cut and edit her interviews so she wouldn't look like a dimwit. And here, now, I want to know, does she believe that? Does she believe that? Hold on. Oh, that's the washer. Okay. I don't know if she believes that. She's just putting it out there. She's trying to maybe a lot of times when you are trying to sell a book, you remember James Comey when he was trying to sell his book, he put the 8647 like a week before, which meant to kill the 47th president, which put him in the spotlight even more. More people, the deranged leftists that want Trump dead probably bought the book just for that post on Instagram. Does she really believe this? The most qualified candidate ever to run for president. Think about that. We've had a lot of people run for president, and I can't think of any dumber than her. Again, she was only VP because of the color of her skin and that she was a woman. That's what the Democrats needed. Oh, you say anything bad about the vice president, you're a sexist and a racist. They wanted to use their political talking points, the way they persecute the American people. So I just thought when it comes to clown world, it doesn't get more clown world than that. How about this? We've covered this. This is a Title IX case. We've covered this probably 3 or 4 times, and now we have an update. The Loudoun County School. Remember when they had boys in a locker room and a female who wanted to decide that she identified as a boy went into the locker room. And not only did she go in the locker room, she started filming in the boys' locker room. Think about that for a second. And the boys got in trouble. Now, that video has now been released. And remember, there was an investigation into the boys, not the girl who went and recorded in the boys' changing area, in the locker room. And I'm going to play this for you and tell me what you think. This is, the investigation should be with these adults who are putting our children in these situations. Bottom line. I don't care if it's a boy in a girl's locker room, a girl in a boy's locker room. Put a damn porta potty outside and say, there you go. Take a listen.
Exactly in this video justify.
Loudoun County Public Schools is investigating 3 young men who were videotaped inside the boys'
Listen to that. They're investigating the 3 young men, not the young woman.
locker room at Stonebridge High School. That video was shot by a female student who uses the boys' facilities because she identifies as male. The boys' parents want to know why their sons are being investigated, while the student who shot the video in the locker room, which violates school policy, is not facing the same scrutiny. Tonight, in a 7 News exclusive, Nick has the video that started it all.
7 News obtained the video at the heart of Loudoun County Public Schools' Title IX investigation into 3 boys accused of sexual harassment of a female student. That student identifies as a boy and has been using the boys' locker room facilities. She took this video in school.
I'll find out.
The female student turns on her camera and walks into the boys' locker room at Stonebridge High School. Most of the video is dark, but you can hear locker room sounds and boys' voices. This is the moment some of the boys in the locker room realize the female student is there. 30 seconds later, you hear this.
Why is there a girl? I'm so uncomfortable with a girl. Female, bro. Get out of here.
That's when the
So why is there a girl in here? I'm so uncomfortable. They don't care if those boys are uncomfortable. They want them uncomfortable. That's why they're the ones being investigated. And it says, a female, bro, get out of here. Really quick. Don't you think that's an appropriate response? I would hope that my kids would say the same thing. They know that's not only immoral, but they know it's wrong. I'm going to play the rest of this. They interview the parents. Take a listen.
female student appears to take the phone out of her pocket and aims the camera at the boys in the locker room. Shortly after that, the video ends. I spoke to the parents whose sons are under investigation.
I don't even think the Title IX investigation is justified.
The parents are mystified and angry, demanding to know what exactly in this video justifies their sons being formally investigated for sexual harassment.
Loudoun County Public Schools absolutely failed these children, every single one of them, including the complainant. And they need to take ownership of it.
I have a daughter that's in high school as well. And if there was a male in there videotaping her in the locker room, I would have issues. If it's my son and there's a female in the locker room videotaping him, I have issues.
Loudoun County Public Schools policy prohibits any kind of recording in locker rooms. But in an email to parents, school officials said the video the girl recorded does not show his son in a compromising situation or, quote, violate his privacy in any way.
How does that not violate your privacy? There should be some places. I just want to know, as what I do, we often get into arguments with people because we're out in public where you are not entitled to any privacy. Where you are entitled to privacy would be a restroom, a locker room, places like that in your home. And guess what? If you're in your home and you're walking around your front windows wide open naked and I'm out on the sidewalk filming you, I am not violating your privacy. You can shut those windows. But this right here, do you see how they are not, I don't even think they're twisting the rules. I don't think they're bending. They are rewriting the rules for a minority, an extreme minority group who is an extremist group, and changing the rules for everybody else.
I believe that is an invasion of their privacy.
This father tells 7 News LCPS refused to show him the video and the beginning of his son's Title IX meeting. He said the LCPS investigator peppered his son with questions the dad believes were intended to bully him into admitting to something he didn't do.
They didn't show us the video until after they had tried to get my son to say who said what and all this kind of stuff. But then once we saw the video, then we started asking about those context questions and how that could be left out. And they didn't really have a good answer for that.
I asked Superintendent Aaron Spence and all 9 school board members about this case. Only board member Dina Griffiths responded, saying, quote, recognizing biological differences isn't discriminatory. It's common sense, and it's essential for protecting the dignity and safety of all children. You can watch the full 2-minute and 22-second video on WJLA.com right now. The Virginia Attorney General's office is investigating
Like when you think of Clown World, that's why this is at the beginning of the show. This is our Clown World segment. I just don't even know what to say anymore, guys. A lot of parents, I see that old Uncle Bill gifted a subscription and he did get his raffle hat in the mail. Thank you, old Uncle Bill. And thank you for your support. And I hope you like it. I almost wore mine today, but it was a little bright in here. And I was like, nah, you know what? I'll wait. But congratulations on that. I don't even know. A lot of parents can't homeschool. And I know you get the people, oh, it's so easy. No, it's not as hard as people think, but it doesn't always work into different family settings. I'll put it that way. Unfortunately, sometimes school is your babysitter more than it is your kid's education system, especially when you have 2 families working. It's just like, I know a lot, and in some areas, the homeschooling programs, like where you have a child, some of the homeschooling programs are great for children that don't need a whole lot of the social environment. I think school is a big social environment as well, and it helps out kids there. But we have to fix these schools. We have to fix this stuff from happening anymore. It's ridiculous. How about this? Let's check out Nancy Pelosi when she was leaving the Capitol steps today, and she's asked about what's going on. Hold on. She's asked about not allowing the National Guard on January 6th, because we know that's what happened. Take a listen.
Congresswoman Pelosi, are you at all concerned that the new January 6th committee will find you liable for that day?
Okay.
Are you at all concerned about the new January 6th committee finding you liable for that day? Why did you refuse the National Guard on January 6th?
Shut up. I did not refuse the National Guard. The president didn't send it. Why are you coming here with Republican talking points as if you're a serious journalist?
The American people want to know. We still have questions. Thank you. Congresswoman Pelosi, are you at all concerned that the new January 6th committee will find you liable for that day?
Okay.
Are you at all concerned about the new January 6th committee finding you liable for that day? Why did you refuse the National Guard on January 6th?
Shut up. I did not refuse the National Guard. The president didn't send it. Why are you coming here with Republican talking points?
The fascists don't want to be asked questions.
As
Now,
if
we
you're
all
a
remember, we
serious
covered
journalist.
this extensively as somebody that was at J6 and got to see the weaponization of our, from every intelligence agencies, the FBI, being a victim of that myself. And then even when somehow her daughter was there that January 6th, who is a producer, a filmmaker. And I don't know, maybe this right here might be something to do with it.
Not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with? They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more. Not have any
We
accountability.
also know that Trump requested, was it 10,000 National Guard? We've covered the story so many times. My brain is getting squashed on it. And that was never approved. So if you don't approve something, you're denying something, correct? And that's all going to come out now. But the problem is we can hold a J6 hearing. We can hold all these investigations. But if there is not arrest and prosecution, it's all a waste of tax dollars. All a waste of tax dollars. And so hopefully, something comes out of that. She admits she'll take full responsibility for it. That's not my words. It was her. How about this? We have this shutdown that the Schumer shutdown that's going on. I want you to just take a look at this. Last night, Democrats went to try to storm his office. And listen to Speaker
Stunts and
Johnson.
antics. They've been doing that every day now, and it shows their desperation. It also shows last night they played some games. They stormed my office. Maybe you saw some of the video online that they shared, or someone did. They berated a Capitol Police officer, screamed at him. He was just merely standing his post. Shows again their disdain for law enforcement, as we see all around the country, the Democrats and everyone in that party screaming, assaulting ICE officers. They did it right here in the Capitol last night. A few members of Congress went into the little foyer of my office and tore down a sign that I had up and just engaged in all sorts of political stunts and antics. They've been doing that every day now, and it shows their desperation. It also shows a very strong contrast between the party that is working for the people and trying to keep the government open and do the right thing, and the party that is engaging in all this nonsense.
Man, what an embarrassment. They could open up, again, all the healthcare talk is a bunch of a quack. And what I mean is, yes, there is something that is expiring because they want you. Remember when they said you wouldn't have to pay for the Core Affordable Care Act? We're just going to charge people this much and it's going to pay for it. Some of that was unconstitutional, like charging an 18-year-old so much on their taxes because they didn't pay for the Affordable Care Act. And so their whole premise of the Affordable Care Act was that it would lower the price of insurance when in fact it skyrocketed the price of insurance. There is something that is expiring that will cause health insurance premiums to go up. However, it doesn't have to be negotiated now. It's at the end of the year. So they could pass the continuing resolution that gets us till November something, right? And then negotiate. Trump wants to make it better. He's talked about this a lot. He even said in his own words, and I'm not quoting him, but from what I remember, that it's so big you can't just cut it off right now. Too many people rely on it. But what they can do is fine tune it and actually make it work for the people. Because for a lot of people that have it, it doesn't work. And not just that, Democrats, they want to pay for illegal alien health care. That was one of Trump's largest promises to the American people, was close the border, mass deportation, and stop giving handouts to people that came over illegally. Now, that was a big part of the platform. So let's see what else we got here. Good old DC. Who remembers Big Balls? When he was violently assaulted in DC, and we've talked about the problem in DC. We talked about the easy on crime policies. Well, oh man, I cut it off. I'll go to the next one. I have it on video as well. Thank God. Well, guess what? His attacker, one of, I think only 2 got arrested. I think there's still 8 remaining because these violent mobs were going through DC, carjacking, assaulting, shooting, many of them minors, because there is no justice in DC, something that Trump is trying to change right now. Well, he got probation. He got probation, 12-month probation. The judge, Kenda Briggs, is black. And Elon Musk has said that this is a racist judge. That's why she gave such a lenient sentence. But listen to this news story on it. Hold on.
2 teenagers have been sentenced in connection with that August attack on former Doge employee Edward Korstein. One 15-year-old boy pleaded guilty to felony assault and was sentenced to 12 months probation. A 15-year-old girl pleaded guilty to simple assault and was sentenced to serve 9 months probation. Both were arrested shortly after the alleged attempted carjacking that left 19-year-old Korstein injured in D.C. The attack happened just days before President Trump ordered the National Guard to the nation's capital.
And like I said, Elon Musk wrote on X, this was a racist verdict by a racist judge. And it says the simple test to apply is if the races had been reversed, the white kid would be in prison. And he put equal justice for all. I would have to agree. It's disgusting. A lot of these judges are activists. They are not equal justice under the law. And we know that, they are changing some things in D.C. with the National Guard down there. Crime is down pretty big. Now we're going to move on. Guys. We're going to move on to the Supreme Court. Today is hearing oral arguments on abolishing the Voting Rights Act districts, drawn for minorities to favor Democrats. There's a lot of things that have happened over the years that have taken away representation from equality, true equality. You shouldn't have special districts because of the color of your skin. And we're going to get into this. We're going to listen to what is some of what was said in those oral arguments today. And there was some really ignorant things said, and there was some really eye-opening things said. And thank God for the conservative Supreme Court justices that want to follow the laws, understand what our founders intended when they created this great experiment known as the United States of America. Take a listen to this. I'm going to play this one first. This one, let's see, this one's 4 minutes.
Justice Sotomayor.
Counsel, I would note that states maps joined people in districts from the far north all the way down and across the state.
That's correct.
The map that it put into effect. So the district wasn't compact, and neither were the interests necessarily compact, except that they were white voters, correct, and Republican.
Correct.
All right. Now, you have not addressed the issues of the unconstitutionality, which is what this re-argument was about. Justice Barrett mentioned congruence and proportionality. Others have suggested that our Harvard case is appropriate. One, Louisiana has said that the use of race in any way violates the Equal Protection Clause.
Amen.
Would you give us a couple of lines on why those, assuming, as the Chief did, that Mulligan and all of our cases and precedents support you?
Sure.
The others are now saying, your adversaries are saying, even if it does, we should still declare this unconstitutional. I don't know that you've addressed that.
Happy to. So SFFA is an entirely different case from the one before the court at the moment. SFFA made clear that it is still constitutional to use race to remedy specified discrimination, which is what we have in the state of Louisiana, what we showed before the Robinson court. So SFFA is, in fact, working more in our favor, we believe, than supporting our opponents. And there are many distinctions between this case and the SFFA case. For example, Section 2 is a decidedly remedial statute. SFFA involved the diversity rationale involving a admissions process with a university, not a statute that is derived from Congress's enforcement powers under the Reconstruction Amendments that deals with remedying discrimination. That is a very clear distinction. This court has been clear in Shaw, in SFFA, in Croson, in Fullilove, that you can use race in a limited way to remedy racial discrimination. The other factor that makes SFFA reconcilable with Milligan, which is controlling here, is that we know both decisions were issued within 3 weeks of one another. It is illogical to think that this court issued the SFFA decision and Milligan in the same term and the same month even, and somehow those cases work at cross purposes with one another. So in our view, it is very clear that the case law before this court supports the use of race as needed once there has been a show.
Supports that. Now we're going to get into this a little. So again, they want to put race where it fits them well, right? They don't want equality. They have done a good job of keeping what they call people of color on the plantation. They have lied to them. They have made them victims. You know, Black Americans have been put in the same category as illegal aliens in a sense from the Democrat mindset. We'll do nothing for them. But when it comes to election time, they're the most important thing because we need that vote. And it's what they did with illegal aliens over the last, 4 or 5 election cycles. It's what they've done. We hear it all the time. You have people that when they go to, gets close to election, they even start talking a little different. Kamala Harris goes into the hood and all of a sudden she's a hood rat. We've seen this time and time again. Listen to this one here. Gorsuch actually got the lady to admit discrimination isn't bad if it's used for minorities to get justice. This isn't going to be a good argument for the Supreme Court. I want you to listen to this.
Do you think a plaintiff in a Section 2 case has to come up with a map where race isn't the predominant factor in the map, or is it okay for a federal court to use a map on the remedial side that intentionally discriminates on the basis of race?
Listen,
You do not have to use race to create the remedy in a map. And I think that
No, I'm asking whether one can. Sometimes you don't have to.
Yes.
I understand that. I'm asking, is it acceptable under Section 2, as you understand it, given our precedents, for a court to intentionally discriminate in a remedial map on the basis of race?
Not in those words, not for a court to intentionally discriminate, but I think it depends. There may be a circumstance where the only possible remedy is the limited use of race. I will say that I think those circumstances are rare, and the permissibility of race is constrained by strict scrutiny. This court has a very clear precedent around ensuring that race does not motivate the line drawer in a way that requires a map to be drawn that isn't narrowly tailored, that uses race for race's sake. There are already constraints between Jingles and Shaw that keep the use of race within constitutional bounds.
I understand that, but one argument is often, well, once you've found a Section 2 violation, you've got a compelling interest to go ahead and discriminate on the basis of race in your remedial map. And I'm just wondering, do you endorse that view or do you reject that view?
I don't endorse the concept of discriminating on the basis of race if discrimination has been established under Section 2 and a state determines that it needs a very precise incision of race in order to remedy that Section 2 violation, then Section 2 and this court's precedent supports that.
So a federal district court can sometimes to remedy a Section 2 violation.
Well, not a federal district court. I'm sorry. I'm glad you emphasized that.
If I might just finish the question.
Yes.
Sometimes federal district courts order maps, and you're saying sometimes acceptable for a federal district court to order a map that intentionally discriminates on the basis of race.
I disagree with that formulation. So first and foremost, states and plaintiffs, as they put forth illustrative maps, cannot put forth maps that discriminate and that use race in an excessive fashion. The only actor that has broader leeway are states, because we give states breathing room. We give states wide latitude in order to balance their political interests and concerns.
So federal district courts can't discriminate on the basis of race in remedies, but states can?
Federal district courts can only order maps that are constitutional. And again, the constitutional boundaries are between Jingles and Shaw, which sometimes permits
states
race.
have more breathing room. So do they have the breathing room to intentionally discriminate on the basis of race?
They don't have breathing room to intentionally discriminate on the basis of race. They have breathing room to use race to remedy their own discrimination.
Okay, thank you.
That was beautiful. The way he led her in. And at the end, but the states can discriminate based on race. There's more to this. Listen to the DEI justice herself, Katanya Brown Jackson. She compared black people not being able to create a majority black congressional district to disabled people not being able to enter a building for the ADA. So if they don't have, she's literally saying black people are disabled. This is what Democrats do. They create a special group. They're the protected group. I get attacked because I'm a conservative, nothing's done. You get attacked because you're holding a trans flag, it's a hate crime and everything else. Listen to this.
A kind of paradigmatic example of this is something like the ADA. Congress passed the Americans with Disabilities Act against the backdrop of a world that was not accessible to people with disabilities. And so it was discriminatory in effect because these folks were not able to access these buildings. And it didn't matter whether the person who built the building or the person who owned the building intended for them to be exclusionary. That's irrelevant. Congress said the facilities have to be made equally open to people with disabilities if readily possible. I guess I don't understand why that's not what's happening here. The idea in Section 2 is that we are responding to current day manifestations of past and present decisions that disadvantage minorities and make it so that they don't have equal access to the voting system, right? They're disabled. In fact,
they're disabled. They're disabled. You heard her say that at the end. And just to let you know, there is no place where anybody in their right mind, except what Democrats created for this exact purpose, where you could find that to be true. Now, I would be all for a Voting Rights Act if it gave somebody the ability, who is a legal American citizen with eligibility to vote, the ability to vote. That's not what it's creating. That's not what this does at all. The people she's talking about can go and vote, but guess what? They want it where it's always going to be a Democrat. This map is drawn specifically for Democrats. There's more on this one I think you guys are going to like. Take a look at this one here. This is I want you to listen to this. This one says the liberal SCOTUS Justice Sotomayor argument in favor of black congressional districts already seems racist to me, right? You just want a congressional district. You want the melting pot. No. We're Democrats. We want black congressional districts. Just got pummeled. And I want you to listen to this. Listen to this entirely. It's a short clip, but it says a lot.
Reason to think that a racial group is being treated
here too. You have proof of that here.
No, you don't. What you have here is that Republicans and Democrats are different. There's no
you have some that even white Republicans or white Democrats won't vote for black candidates.
Right, but if these were white Democrats, there's no reason to think they would have a second district. None. And so what is happening here is their argument is because these Democrats happen to be black, they get a second district. If they were all white, we all agree they wouldn't get a second district. That is literally the definition of race subordinating traditional principles.
I love that. I love that. And there was two things you got to catch there, but he just says it right now. And he goes, if you wouldn't create two districts for white Democrats, but you'll do it for black Democrats. That is the definition of racism. I'm going to play that one more time. Let's do it because we're going to catch something else that was said there. Oh, hold on. We're getting fuzzy here.
To think that a racial group is being treated
here too. You have proof of that here.
No, you don't. What you have here is that Republicans and Democrats are different. There's no
you have.
There you go. Republican and Democrats are different. Now listen to this.
Some that even white Republicans or white Democrats won't vote for black candidates.
White Democrats will not vote for black candidates.
Right, but if these were white Democrats, there's no reason to think they would have a second district. None. And so what is happening here is their argument is because these Democrats happen to be black, they get a second district. If they were all white, we all agree they wouldn't get a second district. That is literally the definition of race subordinating traditional principles.
Justice Kagan?
There's more, but man, talk about dropping the mic right there, right? Talk about, oh man, we just lost our argument right there. Listen to Clarence Thomas. We know Clarence Thomas is one of the GOATs on the Supreme Court. Gotta love him. Democrats hate him. Means we should love him more. Take a listen to this.
What role did in the development of SB 8?
Justice Thomas, Robinson is the only reason SB 8 exists. We fought tooth and nail in the Robinson litigation itself in telling the courts that we did not think the Constitution permitted us to draw a second majority black district. As you know, under protest, we drew SB 8 because the threat was that the federal courts were going to do it if we didn't. And that's, I mean, I think that's the best way to conceive of why SB 8 exists. We would never pass SB 8 in the first instance without Robinson, Justice Thomas.
What were the findings in Robinson?
The finding by the Middle District in Robinson was that the plaintiffs in this case were likely to show a violation of Section 2, and the likely violation, and I'm using very broad terminology because I do not know what the underlying violation is. I can't articulate that for you, Justice Thomas, because I don't think anybody can. But I think the finding in the district court's mind in that case was that the likelihood of a Section 2 violation meant that a majority black district was required, a second one. And I think like that was the bottom line. And when our legislature saw that, we understood the marching order. And that's why you see SB 8 as it exists today.
Just briefly, what were the findings that led to that conclusion?
Well, Your Honor, running through the preconditions and the totality of the circumstances, I mean, I think the totality of the circumstances did most of the work for the Middle District in Robinson. Senate Factor 1, the official history of past discrimination. Justice Thomas, we can never outrun the bad era of poll taxes, of grandfather clauses, of literacy tests. I think we're always going to lose across the board on that kind of analysis. And that's what the Middle District in Robinson focused on, is how bad was Louisiana in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s. And, you know, add all that together, and at the end you have a vote dilution finding that I don't think is clearly articulable in the way that SFFA requires a finding of discrimination to be specified.
So we have some good stuff going on. I hope, man, the two things that we need to see, it is October. We knew they would come back into session here. We need to we need to abolish the Voting Rights Act. And also the 14th Amendment, the way it's interpreted, is anchor babies get to be legal U.S. citizens. That's another thing they're going to hear pretty soon. Take a listen to Harmeet Dillon. She said she's on the steps of SCOTUS after listening to oral argument in the important Voting Rights Act case, Louisiana versus Calais. Hash did a phenomenal job articulating the Justice Department's position. And take a listen to this.
You know, sort of navigate competing strains. Hi, Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon and my Principal Deputy Jesus Ossetti here on the steps of the United States Supreme Court, where we just got out of a 2.5-hour oral argument on the important Voting Rights Act case, Louisiana versus Calais, and there was a companion case as well. We were on the United States' amicus brief, which was extremely ably argued by our Solicitor General colleague, Haj Mupin, who I think had the court really animated. They were looking at specific pages of our brief and asking questions about formulating a test to, you know, sort of navigate competing strains of Voting Rights Act Section 2 jurisprudence. It was really fascinating and a tremendous honor to be there and see top-notch advocacy coming out of the court.
So let's just hope. Hold on. Oh my gosh. Turn this down. Sorry guys, phone's going off right now with all my Ring cameras, so apologize. I had to shut that down. This is going to be very urgent and important. Again, when you create something based on race, are you given advantage to one group versus a disadvantage to another? Especially when it's just political parties. We have two major political parties in this country, which is Republican and Democrat. And when you start creating subgroups underneath for one of those parties, whether it's Republican or Democrat, you are giving them an advantage. And it is exactly what it sounds like. It is racism. We're going to move on right now. This is kind of a good time to do this. We do have a small raffle for you. We told you guys we would pick up something yesterday at Charlie Kirk. So we're going to do just one of our souvenir raffles. You get to choose from one of these right here. Either a white or black Freedom with the Charlie Kirk on the side and an American flag on the other side right there, guys. So if you guys want to get in, each entry is $10 as normal. You guys have done it before. I'm going to be we're only having one show on Friday. Today is Wednesday, so it's a day and a half raffle if you guys want to take an opportunity to jump in. And again, we are 100% viewer funded, so your donations help fund our bills, fund future trips, and keep the lights on. So it's $10 per entry. If you do $30, that's 3 entries. And our donation links are on the bottom. At least 2 of them are. You could do Venmo at Oreo Josh, Cash App, $Oreo Army, GiveSendGo.com/Oreo 2024, Rumble Rants as well. And obviously, we have a Zelle link. If you want to use Zelle to do a bank or online transfer, you can enter that way as well. And that is located on our website, theoreoexpress.com. Go there, scroll down our homepage, click the Donate Now button, and you will find that Zelle link. Yeah, they are pretty cool hats. And again, they say Charlie Kirk on the side, say freedom up front. And we picked these up yesterday after the live stream. So you choose which color. You get one, either black or white. And I want to say thank you for everybody who joins us and helps us out. We appreciate your support. And speaking of Charlie Kirk, I want to talk about it after this. I thought this was really interesting. I had talked about literally weeks before, maybe even a week before Charlie Kirk was assassinated, that I thought at times we were seeing a revival in the country, like near when we seen what happened during COVID. You're having all these outdoor venues because everything was closed, and you were having these pastors or Christian artists who were taking it to the next level and making sure people got out and were able to worship. And you've seen even people outside of colleges worshiping the Lord, and it just kind of died. Interestingly enough, I want to talk about this. Take a listen to this. And this kind of has to do with, if you look at the years they put down, Christianity seems to be on the rise in the United States. Take a look.
A Christian revival across the country. Bible sales increasing over 40% since 2022. Religion app downloads surging nearly 80%. That increase since 2019. And Christian music Spotify streams up 50% from 2019. Our next, a Christian revival.
Now, I think that's pretty big. And I also want to mention that the Charlie Kirk effect. There has been numerous videos I've watched, numerous people I have talked to that have reanalyzed either how they're going to walk with the Lord now, like it inspired them to do better, do good, do service into their church. It also brought people who had never accepted the Lord as their personal savior. Right? And we are starting to see a big shift. I was telling Quincy, we were talking about it in the hotel room. Like when we went to, I've been to Fresno State campus a lot of times, but that night that there was a Charlie Kirk memorial, obviously Christians will go, a lot of people that listen to him. But I told Quincy, when I'm walking out to my car or to the event, and I had to walk, or actually I rode the scooter, and I'm riding the scooter past people, and you see these people on college campuses carrying Bibles, you're like, oh yeah, let's do this. And so I just thought that was interesting. Since 2022, so in the last 3 years, annual U.S. Bible sales are up 41%. That is absolutely amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And I hope this continues. And I hope we continue to see this stuff happen. Let's see what else we got. Once again, Democrats refuse to open the government, guys. Take a look at this. This was earlier today while we were prepping for the show.
On this vote, the yeas are 51, the nays are 44. 3/5 of the Senate duly chosen and sworn not having voted in the affirmative, the motion is not agreed to.
So once again, Democrats plain obstruction. We have Mike Johnson talking about that here in a minute, of why they're holding off, because we got something going on this weekend. And many of you know it's the No Kings protest. It's going to be across the country. We've seen it before. Kind of embarrassing. If you go out there and you see the people that are out there, they hate America. They're anti everything that makes America good. And we'll get into that here in a minute. But how about this? This was great. The Democrats are panicking. It says Donald Trump has fired over 4,000 federal workers and the Department of Education has taken the hardest hit. It's exactly what I voted for, is limiting the size of government. Take a look at the CNN, and then we're going to see Russ vote and what he said on it, who's doing a lot of this stuff.
Impacted by the mass layoffs include the Departments of Commerce, Education, Energy, Health and Human Services, Housing and Urban Development, Homeland Security, and the Treasury Department. Now, multiple sources at the Department of Education tell CNN the latest round of mass layoffs have decimated the office. Impacted by the mass layoffs include the Departments of
It was at the end. It's supposed to say Department of Education. It cut out there. And so Chuck Schumer knew all this was going on. He didn't want to save those employees' jobs. This was like a gift to the Trump administration. And I want you to listen to OMB Director Russ Vought. He unleashes more nightmare. Take a listen to this. He was on the Charlie Kirk show.
We're definitely talking.
And I thought this was absolutely great because it's just beginning.
Are we talking 10 people? We talking 1,000 people? We talking 10,000 people?
We're definitely talking thousands of people. Much of the reporting has been based on kind of court snapshots, which they've articulated is in the 4,000 number of people. But that's just a snapshot, and I think it'll get much higher. And we're going to keep those riffs rolling throughout this shutdown because we think it's important to stay on offense for the American taxpayer and the American people in getting a government that, if there's an opportunity to have less bureaucracy, and think of Green New Deal programs at the Department of Energy, think the Minority Business Development Agency at Commerce that divvies up business grants on the basis of race, think environmental justice at EPA, think about CISA. CISA was an area that we riffed, which was participating in censorship of the American people. We want to be very aggressive where we can be in shuttering the bureaucracy, not just the funding, but the bureaucracy, that we now have an opportunity to do that. And that's where we're going to be looking for our opportunities.
Man, it was like handed to the Trump administration up to 10,000 more. And again, Democrats can say they care about these people all they want. But guess what? They knew it was coming. And I do know about the court case. We'll get into that. I don't know if we'll have time to get in that, but a California judge did block a liberal judge. But we know how this works. They've lost all their court cases on firing of federal employees. And listen to what Speaker Mike Johnson says. Why they won't, if they are going to reopen the government, why they won't do it before this weekend. Take a listen.
Can you make
He's doing it for himself.
Can you make a 5-second prediction here for us? How long does this go on?
I hope it ends soon. I don't think it will end before the Hate America rally on the mall on Saturday, where all the Marxists and Antifa people and all the people who hate Trump and hate America will be there. After that, though, I hope there's a couple of sensible Democrats who will come to their senses over in the Senate and vote the right way to do the right thing that they have always done every time in the past in their career. They need to do it now for the people, for the American people.
Yeah, I guess.
Can you make
I love that. For all the people that hate America, all those people with Trump derangement syndrome. It's absolutely true. If you go to these protests, and give a shout out to old Uncle Bill. He said, my first entry for the new raffle. Thank you, old Uncle Bill, for jumping in the raffle. Appreciate you. Let's see. What else do we got? Let me pull this up. I gotta go find this one. It wasn't up here yet. Hold on. Let's refresh. It's all the same stuff. Give me 1 second to find this one. California judge halts federal job cuts amidst Schumer shutdown. This is from the LA Times. I'm going to pull it up. I read one of them earlier. It says a federal judge blocked the Trump administration Wednesday from firing thousands of federal employees based on the ongoing federal shutdown, granting a request from federal employee unions in California. A U.S. District Judge, Susan Ilston, issued a temporary restraining order after concluding that the unions will demonstrate ultimately that what is being done here is both illegal and is excess of authority and is arbitrary and capricious. She said Ilston slammed the Trump administration for failing to provide her with clear information about what cuts are actually occurring, for repeatedly changing its descriptions and estimations of the job cuts in a filing before the court, and failing to include during Wednesday's hearing in Sacramento to articulate an argument for why such cuts are not a violation of federal law. It's just more of the jargon. This is what we voted for. When we heard Doge and we heard they were going to cut a substantial amount of federal jobs, we were like, kudos. Now let's get to some of the border crisis. And when I say border, I mean illegal alien crisis that's going on. We're going to talk about just where you stand as an American citizen and what Democrats are supporting. And one thing they're supporting is bounties on our law enforcement's head. They're also supporting violence towards ICE and federal officials. We've seen it time and time again. Take a look at this.
Agents are Customs and Border Patrol agents, non-lethal assault, $50,000 for the assassination of high-ranking officials. Whew. Here's Greg Bavino. He works in Chicago. Says he had a bounty on his head. Watch.
We've got $50,000 bounties on the heads of federal law enforcement officers. We have criminals ramming vehicles, criminals bringing guns to protests. This is not regular street crime here in Chicago. We have assaults on Border Patrol agents, ICE officers, and our allied law enforcement agencies every day, often multiple times per day. And again, these assaults, the lethality of these assaults is increasing.
How can your officers respond to that effectively?
Well, there's power in numbers. There's safety in numbers. Secretary Noem, ever since that terror attack we saw in Dallas, she's been hardening our ICE facilities. President Trump has called in the National Guard, a very prescient and great, strong leadership we've seen from the President of the United States. But, we are seeing a coordinated, highly organized waging of war on our law enforcement on the streets of Chicago. These men and women are simply enforcing the rule of law and doing their job, and yet there's these foreign terrorist networks who are going after them. They're using a tiered system of bounties to go after them, whether it be doxing their family members, kidnapping, even murdering these brave men and women.
So what we're seeing here is really the Democrat Party in action. It's absolutely ridiculous that they're not speaking out against this. Old Uncle Bill, I'll see what I can do. I bought that. I do have the card. I don't know what the minimum will be because I bought it at the fair. So the fair's gone. But I will see if I can contact the company. I know where they're located. And I wanted to contact them anyways about some other hats. So I will, and I'll let you know. I will do that possibly after this show. We should be done about 2:30, I'm guessing. So thank you, Bill. Bill wants to purchase another light up hat for a raffle. So I'm going to see what I can do. It was a company that travels with the fair that had those. So I will find out and let you know. But this right here, guys, there's not Democrats talking against this violence. When we seen it in LA, when we see that guy pick up boulders and throw them at vehicles doing 40, 50, 60 miles an hour, could have killed somebody, not just the Border Patrol agents that were driving them, but innocent people. If that truck swerves and hits somebody, and you didn't have Democrats saying, hey, wait a second here. Wait a second here. That's not right. I mean, think about it. To put a bounty on a federal law enforcement officer, that's beyond domestic terrorism. And you could say Democrats aren't the party of domestic terrorism, but they support the people that are doing it, right? It's just disgusting by far. Take a look at this right here. This was one of the people, what group was he from? The Latin Kings gang member. Take a listen. He's now been indicted. He put out posts saying that he would pay people. He's a gang member here in the United States. Take a listen to this.
Just in moments ago in a Fox News alert, a federal grand jury indicting the Latin Kings gang member accused of putting a bounty on the head of Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino. Our national correspondent Griff Jenkins here in Washington with the latest on this. Griff?
Yeah, John, that individual is a Mexican national named Juan Martinez. And just moments ago, I'm looking at the indictment. It alleges that Martinez knowingly used a facility of interstate commerce, namely an Apple Model 16 phone and Snapchat with the intent that a murder be committed. John, this comes as a threat to ICE has never been higher. DHS says there's now a tiered bounty system set up by Mexican cartels. They are offering $2,000 for gathering intelligence or doxing immigration agents, $5,000 to $10,000 for kidnapping ICE or CBP officers, and up to $50,000 for the assassination of a high-ranking officer. Now, with Martinez, that alleged Latin King gang member, he was accused of putting this bounty on the Border Patrol's commander at large. That's Greg Bovino. His specific bounty was $2,000 on info and $10,000 if you, quote, take him down. The gang member's attorney is denying his client has any ties to the Latin Kings gang and paints him as a law-abiding family man.
Oh, another family man. Was he a Chicago dad?
But Chief Bovino refutes that, adding the threat environment is increasing.
Things have changed a lot. Since those bounties were put out, we've had to take different measures to keep our agents safe.
Just in moment.
That's one of the things I noticed when the rejects jumped into the chats while we were in Portland covering the ICE facility down there. Oh, they don't need all those officers. You just had one of your leftists become a sniper and shoot two of the detainees when they were trying to kill ICE officers. So yeah, there is a heightened security alert in this country, and Democrats are not speaking out against it. So that's on you folks. That's on the Democrat Party right now. How about this? This is from KTLA. Interesting stuff here. This says, an emergency declaration was approved by a 4-1 vote on Tuesday. Los Angeles County declares immigration emergency. Well, you'd think you would see that and you'd be like, yeah, I mean, they're trying to kill law enforcement. No. That's not what this immigration emergency is. You know what that that immigration emergency is? Giving illegals money. Take a look at this. This is beyond. We told you it was coming. We told you right when the raids happen that they will take American citizens' taxpayer dollars and give to illegal aliens. They put illegal aliens ahead of American citizens every time. That is the Democrat Party, folks. And you say, oh, no, they're not doing that. Well, what'd they pass?
LA County now passing the buck on its sanctuary policies. It's moving to make taxpayers pick up the tab and start paying rent and legal fees for illegal immigrants. How's this supposed to work? Bill Malusian live there in LA with more. Hi, Bill.
Hey, Dana. Well, the 10 million people who live here in LA County are waking up to news this morning that their tax dollars may soon be going to help illegal immigrants and their families. This after a controversial vote last night. The LA County Board of Supervisors voting 4-1 on Tuesday to approve a, quote, immigration emergency declaration in the county in response to recent ICE raids here in LA. Now, that emergency declaration will give LA County the power to provide taxpayer-funded rent relief, legal services, and other assistance to those the county says have been affected by recent ICE raids. Now, the two LA County supervisors who first introduced this declaration say immigrants in LA have been, quote, living under threat from ICE and help is needed.
We have entire families who are destitute because their fathers or mothers were taken from their workplaces and they have no way to pay their rent or put food on the table.
The county will take whatever actions we have within our authority. We need to call on our region to stand up and protect our community members.
Now, in a statement to Fox News, ICE is blasting LA County's decision to approve this declaration. They write in part, quote, the only state of emergency is the one residents of Los Angeles face after electing officials who give a middle finger to the law. Perhaps the board should supervise funds to support law-abiding fire victims who still haven't recovered instead of criminal illegal aliens seeking refuge in their sanctuary city. Now, Dana, the LA County Board of Supervisors also...
Oh, hold on.
Instead of criminal illegal aliens seeking refuge in their sanctuary city. Now, Dana, the LA County Board of Supervisors also recently cut $25 million from the LA County District Attorney's Office. That's for this current budget year, and that was over the DA's objections about what it would do to public safety. I've been getting texts from prosecutors in that office basically saying it's remarkable the board can not find public safety money for them, but now they've suddenly apparently feel they can find money to help illegal immigrants. We'll send it back to you.
Yep. Illegal aliens first, and then where is it here? There was one that I wanted to pull up. I don't remember the name, but somebody on here said, laugh my butt off. You get what you voted for. Well, actually, you get what they voted for. That's the funny part. When we spend local tax dollars and California state dollars, then we request more federal dollars, which is your dollars. There's nothing funny about this. This, again, just like when we cover illegal alien healthcare at the cost of $12.6 billion, it's not just Californians that are paying that. Then they request more money to cover healthcare for legal citizens. And guess what? You're on the dole for that. So until we get something, I mean, California, Los Angeles especially, is just, I don't know where they are. Again, I question whether the fact that these people, any of them, care about this country, love this country. You've seen earlier, Attorney General not clapping for veterans that are coming home on an honor flight. That was Keith Ellison. You see constantly the attacks on law enforcement, the attacks on people with American flags. You've seen all this, and Democrats don't condone any of it. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And I get it. There's some of those people out there that really just have brain rot, that don't see through the BS. That's why we go out to the streets. I don't care what Fox News says. I don't care what CNN says. I care what I see. And that's why I always go out there and show you guys firsthand. Speaking of that, we're going to show you something here in a minute that's quite funny. How about this?
Physically, DHS says one of the, or both of them,
this was Chicago Tuesday. It got crazy in Chicago, but listen to this. I mean, you have people ramming ICE vehicles, blocking them, recording themselves, aiding and abetting illegal aliens, all things that should be minimum prison. And if they have dual citizenship, ship them back to the other country they have dual citizenship with. Take a look.
Stop physically. DHS says one of the, or both of them, I should say, are Venezuelan and in the U.S. illegally. One of them had an order for removal from 2024. A crowd formed up, and Chicago police say they started throwing rocks. So tear gas and other crowd control weaponry was used to disperse the people. Meantime, the fence surrounding the ICE facility here in Broadview, Illinois, is down. It came down with an hour to go before the court-ordered midnight deadline. The mayor of Broadview acknowledged that the protests here get out of control. So the area on the southwest side of the ICE facility has been declared a no-protest zone, primarily to keep people from walking into traffic. The demonstrators are now restricted to a small zone here on the northeast side, and the protesters don't like it.
It seems like they're trying to push us out or trying to make it so the protest is less effective. I'm not the only one that feels this is unconstitutional. People are going to get more angry and they're going to come out.
That's the same guy that thinks it's constitutional to block roads, ram ICE vehicles, aid and abet illegal aliens. But what you've seen there as well is that a judge ordered they put up these barriers to protect their ICE agencies. The judge ordered them to come down. Again, we are in a battle of good versus evil. A lot of these people that our ICE and our immigration enforcement is going after are people that do very bad things. They have broken the law here. They cut in front of people that want to do it the right way and pledge allegiance to this country. You have a right to have borders. You have a right to have a sovereign nation. And Democrats don't want that. They want the chaos that takes us to communism. Here's an FBI Portland update. We were just in Portland. We brought you the news. Says 0 federal arrest in the last 24 hours. So last night was pretty calm. 1 federal citation. The citations is when they drag those people in for trespassing on federal property. And it says 195 total federal arrest and citations since June 2025. Now, I thought you guys would like this. I didn't have a chance to do a show yesterday. Obviously, we got home. But Ron Wyden, a U.S. senator from Oregon, went out there, I think it was yesterday, and did a video. And you got to see what was going on while we were out there, right? I don't have to tell you anything. Take a look at his video. There ain't a bad place to be. Let me take off the music. Take a listen. This is him. Update from the war-ravaged Portland on Monday, October 13th at 3 p.m. Oh, look. I wonder if this was a setup. Maybe he'll sit down and play chess. Oh, look at that. This is Democrats for you guys. This is Democrats. Let me see him out there at 8 o'clock at night. That is propaganda, and we all know it. We all know it. Just for craps and giggles, let me pull something up. Hold on, let's see. Let me pull this up. Looks a little different from what I remember being there. Let's see. I should have posted a lot more videos on X than I did. Let's see. We did a live from down there. Where's videos like this? Where's those videos? That looks like it's the middle of the day. Why didn't you come out there and look at that guy posting up against officers? Look at him blocking the street and the facility. Man, war ravaged, huh? Ron Wyden. Why didn't Ron go out there when that was going on? Kind of crazy. How about this one? They're blocking the entry and exit now.
I don't see no riot here. Why are you a riot here?
I love that saying. Or when they're beating the shit out of somebody and they say, peaceful protest. Okay. Was Ron out there for that? Yeah, just some of what we captured while we were down there, thanks to you guys. Couldn't do it without you. What else do we got now that we know Ron was out there playing chess? I don't know who this guy is. Let me see if I can find out who he is, but I want to, because another so-called country singer, let me see. Let me Google, because it says up-and-coming country artist slams ice, and he'll probably be down and falling now. Brian Andrews Music. He only has 13,000 followers. Brian Andrews. I can't play any music right now. It doesn't look like he's at 61,000 followers on YouTube. Only 474,000 views. So I wouldn't call him up and coming. That's for sure. But take a listen to this right here. Oh, shoot. I did it wrong. I might not be able to show you it. Oh, come on. Load it to the same page. Here we go. Listen to this guy.
Now, you want to crash out? Fine, I'll fucking give you one. If we don't wake the fuck up soon, and I mean quick, fast, and in a fucking hurry, we are fucked like a football bat. We got the Department of Homeland fucking Security out here sharing hype videos of ICE agents flying in on American cities, banging in doors, jacking people out of their houses, zip tying them in the streets naked, and then carting them off in the back of U-Hauls with no warrants or due process like it's a fucking trailer to the newest Call of Duty game. And the worst part is, I gotta watch some of y'all cheer it on like you're watching a fucking football game. And then the cherry on top of it all, I gotta sit here and listen to y'all call yourselves Christians? Bullshit. You don't get to call yourself a Christian and then advocate and fucking laugh when families are torn apart outside of courthouses of people trying to come here the right ways. You don't get to call yourself...
None of those people were trying to come here the right way. We know a lot of people that came out and did it the right way, and they're out there protesting with us and clapping for ICE for getting illegal aliens out of this country. They put he was an up-and-coming
and then think it's okay.
Guy. I looked right now with you guys. Doesn't seem like he's up and coming, but he's now going to be down and falling. So let's see what else we had really quick. What time is it? Hour and 30. Man, I'm so good at setting up these shows. I'm getting better, guys. I said I'm going to do about hour and a half. We're at an hour and 28 44 seconds. Let me pull something up right now, because I also told you guys, and don't forget, I think we only got old Uncle Bill into the raffle right now. Where's the Oreo Army at? We got Freedom hats, Charlie Kirk Freedom hats. You get to choose one of them. We picked these up yesterday at Charlie Kirk's birthday and memorial event at the California State Capitol. As Charlie Kirk on the side. If you guys, you get to pick white or black. If you guys want to get in and help out the Oreo Army, we appreciate it. Every $10 donation gets you one entry. $30 will get you 3, so on and so forth. So if you want to help us out and donate and also have a chance of getting something in return, you can donate at Venmo at Oreo Josh, Cash App, $Oreo Army. We have GiveSendGo down there on the bottom. It's givesendgo.com/Oreo 2024. And as well as if you guys want to use Zelle, which is if you do online or mobile banking, you can just go to your app and send a Zelle. That Zelle address, I'll give it to you, but it's linked on our website. It's Pure Patriot, Pure Patriot 559@yahoo.com. That address is also under our Donate Now button on our website. Our website is theoreoexpress.com. And Patriot Pete in there is upset that people like him aren't getting to milk off the taxpayers. So thank you guys all. And I told you I would play a little bit of Trump's press conference here, and I'm going to do that right now. Oh, before I do, let me make some money off Patriot Pete. Let's see. I love when Patriot Pete's in here. Let me do something really quick. We have to do so many a month to keep. Check this out, guys. Hey, football fanatics, are you ready for some primetime NFL action? Tune into Westwood One for all the gridiron glory you crave. From jaw-dropping touchdowns to game-changing plays, don't miss a moment of the excitement. Catch every snap, every tackle, and every victory on Westwood One. You can listen to the NFL on the NFL app, on the Westwood One Sports app, on WestwoodOneSports.com via Westwood One station streams, or by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports. If it's the NFL, it's on Westwood One. Now, let me see here really quick. Let me go to the White House website, or the White House page, so I don't have to pull it off something else. Oh, I thought he was live on there. Let's see. Here we go. We're going to play some of this for you really quick.
The stability at we like to preserve.
All right, they're getting ready to kick. This was from about 2 hours ago. Take a listen here. And thank you, Pete.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. It's great to be in this beautiful Oval Office. It never looked so nice. We're getting great compliments, and you see outside how that's come out. It's been great. We make a lot of improvements to the White House, and we're doing that. One of the things you should be looking at is the Palm Court, because that's been totally redone. So we like to preserve and make better the White House, and that's really what's happened, and we're getting tremendous reviews, and we appreciate it. But we're here for a different reason. It's called Operation Summer Heat, which is an appropriate term in light of what we're doing. And early yesterday morning, I returned from the Middle East, where we celebrated a historic agreement to end years of suffering and conflict. Amazing. Every country came together. I mean, even the enemies came out and totally endorsed it. Everybody, I've never seen anything like it. Nobody's seen anything like it. And just as we are forging peace and stability abroad, we're also restoring peace and safety and stability at home. And you see that in Washington, D.C., maybe better than any place, because we got there, and within 12 days, it was very good. And within 30 days, it's been as safe as any city in the country. It's been great. Took out 1,700 people, got them out. These are career criminals in many cases, and people that shouldn't have been allowed in by the Biden administration. Historically, the summer months have been a time when violent crime soar, as you know, but not under President Trump. Today, we're announcing the results of a sweeping law enforcement effort known as Operation Summer Heat. We were in many cities that people didn't know about. We kept it a little quiet, and it had a big impact, and you'll hear that in a second. But over the past few months, FBI offices in all 50 states made crushing violent crime a top enforcement priority. That's what they did, rounding up and arresting thousands of the most violent and dangerous criminals. And these are among the most dangerous and violent people in the world. They were allowed, in many cases, not in all cases, but in many cases they were allowed in by a very foolish, actually stupid, open border policy. Just anybody could have come in. They emptied out their jails, their prisons, their mental institutions. They emptied them into our country. And the people behind me have done an incredible job because if we didn't have that administration, it would have been so much easier. They allowed millions of people in this country that shouldn't have been allowed, including over 11,000 murderers, half of whom murdered more than one person. And many of them are gone now, or they're put in prison because we don't want to have them come back. So we literally put them in our prison, which we don't want to do, but we bring them back to their countries. Working with state and local partners, the FBI arrested over 8,000 violent criminals during the course of this period. In major cities like in New Orleans, Nashville, we saw a 250% increase in arrests. And we really went after the bad ones. These include 725 individuals wanted for violent crimes against children and murderers. These arrests are in addition to the work of our historic federal task forces that make DC Safe Task Force has been unbelievable. I mean, the job they've done, it's incredible. And it's been so nice because so many people, they're going out to dinner and they're having dinners. They didn't go out for 4 years. And now they're going out 3 times a week. Restaurants are opening. Restaurants are full. And usually that means a lot of good things. But restaurants that were closed are now opening up. And everybody's happy. It's nobody's ever seen anything like it, actually. And everybody feels safe. You can have a child walk right through the middle of Washington, D.C., and nothing's going to happen. We were losing more than one person a week in Washington. They're being killed on an average of over one a week. The Make DC Safe Task Force has been incredible. And the Make Memphis Safe Task Force is having very similar results. It's much earlier, but we've been there for a week and a half, but I'm hearing the results are pretty incredible, and you'll hear about that. They're mobilizing more than 20 federal agencies for the largest law enforcement operation targeting violent criminals in American history. As a result of these efforts, violent crime declined nearly 20% nationwide compared to the same period last year, and it was the safest and most peaceful summer in 2 decades. And honestly, we haven't really even gotten going yet. If we didn't have to fight all of these radical left governors, we could have had Chicago taken care of, as an example. They had, in a short period of time, 4,000 murders in Chicago, and we have to listen to this man stand up and say that we're bad people. And the people of Chicago are walking around with MAGA hats. You have women, beautiful black women, walking around with MAGA hats. Please let the president in, and we don't care how he does it. They're not interested in National Guard or Army, Navy, bring them in. Marines, bring in the Marines. They just want the crime to stop. And more so because of the success that we had in D.C. I think if we didn't have that success, nobody would even believe it. So I want to congratulate all of the incredible law enforcement professionals joining us today, especially Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's terrific. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who is a fantastic legal talent. He really is. He's a great guy, too. And, of course, FBI Director Kash Patel. They have worked so hard on this and other things. Since the start of the administration, the FBI has arrested over 23,000 violent criminals, more than double the number arrested in the final year of the Biden disaster. The FBI has also destroyed or severely disrupted more than 170 organized criminal enterprises and gangs, 1,600 of the most violent gangs, and confiscated over 6,000 illegal firearms. And they've tracked down and arrested 4 fugitives on the most wanted list, 4 of the most wanted. Actually, 2 of them were the most wanted fugitives in the world. There's still much more work to be done, which is why the FBI continues to work alongside the Department of Justice, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Department of War to defend. And Pete Hegseth has been fantastic, by the way, on this too, on other things, but on this too, to defend law and order and combat violent crime, arrest illegal aliens, and make American cities the safest in the world. And when I campaigned, I talked about crime, but I never knew that we were going to get into it like we did. You know, I mean, I used to watch these cities with the murders. Chicago recently had 1 deal where they had 11 murders in one weekend. And they said, well, yeah, but it was a holiday weekend. They actually told me that was the reason. Like it was okay because it was a holiday. It was Labor Day. These people are the worst. They really have to, they better, I tell you what, the people in Chicago and the people in places like that can be fixed. At some point, it gets to where you can't fix it anymore. It's too far gone. And we have some cities like that. But these are great cities that can be fixed. I'm going to be strongly recommending, at the request of government officials, which is always nice, that you start looking at San Francisco. I think we can make San Francisco. There's one of our great cities 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And now
Let's
it's a mess.
go.
And we have great support in San Francisco. So I'd like to recommend that for inclusion, maybe in your next group. You'll get great support. Every American deserves to live in a community where they're not afraid of being mugged, murdered, robbed, raped, assaulted, or shot. And that's exactly what our administration is working to deliver. I didn't realize I was going to make this such a big factor in the administration. I didn't really campaign. I campaigned on crime, but I never thought we'd go into every city and take a really safe city that we've all been living with for years and make them safe. And now it's like a passion for me, and it's a passion for the people behind me. So I didn't get elected. I did get elected for crime, but I didn't get elected for what we're doing. This is many, many steps above it. I want to thank Stephen Miller, who's right back in the audience right there. I'd love to have him. I love watching him on television. I'd love to have him come up and explain his true feelings, but maybe not his truest feelings. That might be going a little bit too far. But Stephen, thank you for doing an unbelievable job. And the people of this country love you, I'll tell you, and they love what you say about crime and stopping crime. So now I'd like to ask Director Patel to say a few words, and then Pam and Todd also. And I just want to congratulate them. This is an amazing thing. And we're just at the start. We're going to go into other cities that we're not talking about purposely. We're getting ready to go in. And when they go in, like Cash as an example, told me that people didn't even know. 5 months ago, they went into Chicago, and they started doing a lot of work in Chicago. And we brought the numbers down a little bit. And but that really was just preparatory work for what we're going to do with the surge. We're going to have a surge of strong, good people, patriots, and they're going to go in, they straighten it all out. So a lot of these cities we're already working on, but we don't do it with a big flavor. But in a little while, you're going to see some numbers that you're not going to believe. And I think you'll probably start with Memphis, because I'm hearing the numbers are much quicker than we even thought possible. But again, D.C. it speaks for itself. Chicago is going to be okay. We're going to save Chicago. And I told you, and I told them, a very respected man, the head of the Union Pacific, said, "Sir, save Chicago. It can be saved." And the way he said it, it was like, can you believe it? We're trying to save Chicago. But I understood exactly what he wants. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to save all of our cities, and we're going to make them essentially crime-free, like other countries have crime-free. If you go all over the world, you go to the world, you hear Afghanistan and you hear all these different places. Our crime in certain cities is worse than anything they can even imagine. And we're not going to have that any longer. It's going to stop, and it stops right here. Cash, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. What I'd like to do is just highlight some of the outstanding work that the men and women of the FBI have been doing. And thanks to your brave leadership and the mandate you were given by the American people, not only defend the homeland, but crush violent crime, you tasked us with our great partners at the Department of Justice and the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General to start making arrests and bring prosecutions and safeguard our cities. And you said it, this is just the beginning. In just 7 months, I hope the media takes a look at every one of these charts, because these are the best numbers for fighting crime in U.S. history, and it's only 7 months in. And to do that, our vehicle to do it of choice was Operation Summer Heat, which the FBI architected to go after violent criminals. And in just a 3-month span, you had 8,700 arrests of violent criminals. You had 2,200 firearms seized off the streets permanently to safeguard our communities. You had 421 kilograms of fentanyl seized. Just to put that in perspective, that's enough to kill 55 million Americans alone. You had 45,000 kilograms of cocaine seized. And thanks to our Department of Justice partners, you had 2,100 indictments in 3 months, from June to September alone. Mr. President, that in and of itself would be historic for a 4-year presidency. You did that in 7 months because you let good cops be cops, and you partnered us with the right people, the Department of Justice, to put the handcuffs on and bring them to court and put them in prison. And if that weren't enough, when you look at the year, for the entire 7-month period that we're talking about here, if you look at the past 4 years of the Biden administration, 16,000, 17,000, 15,000, 15,000. That's the number of arrests year over year of violent felons in this country for the Biden administration. Mr. President, in 7 months, you have 28,600 arrests of violent felons in just 7 months alone because of your leadership and the dedication of the men and women at the FBI who want to go out there and do the job they were prevented from doing because that department used to be weaponized and politicized. And this is what happens when you take out the fangs of weaponization. This number is historic by every metric. 28,000 people have been arrested, violent felons alone. And then when you go over there and look at some of these charts, if you don't mind, I'll just hop over here. Look at the metrics for not just violent crime, but the homeland. Mr. President, during your administration, the FBI has found and located 5,400 children. That is a 30% increase year to date over the last administration. Violent crimes against children arrests alone are up 10%. Gang arrests are up 210% in the last 7 months alone. And transnational organized crime, which Stephen Miller has been a great partner in, is up over 12% alone. These numbers are historic just as a snapshot. But just so people don't think we're focusing on violent crime alone, the national security mission, Mr. President, your leadership has never been stronger. We have gone after espionage activities against our main counterparts in China, Russia, and Iran. In China alone, we've had over a 50% increase in espionage arrests alone in prosecution. In Iran, we have had a 50% increase, again, in espionage cases. And in Russia, we've had a 33% increase in espionage cases alone. When it comes to counterterrorism, year to date, we have 125 arrests this year versus 100 last year, year to date alone. And when it comes to the cyber criminal activities, which are some of the largest enterprises plaguing everyday Americans, we at the FBI have put out a mission to go after cyber criminals like never before. Last year, they had in total 191. This year, you already have 252 arrests. 52 arrests of violent cyber criminals who are stealing from senior citizens, who are violating our children's rights and freedoms, and who are violating everyday Americans. These programs are record. And two of the things I'll finish with that I'm most proud of, Mr. President, this FBI. Fentanyl. As you know, it's a scourge that's killing our youth, 100,000 plus a year. To date, the FBI has seized 1,900 kilograms of fentanyl. That's enough lethal doses to kill 127 million Americans alone. To date. And if that weren't enough, Mr. President, you said we have to go after the worst of the worst. And you empowered our Department of Justice, our Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General, and the Deputy Director at the FBI, led the charge, not just on summer heat, but he also led the charge to the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives. These people have been on the run for years. And in 7 months, you captured not one, not two, not three, but 4 of the FBI's most top 10 fugitives. 4. And just to put that in perspective, Mr. President, the Biden administration captured 4 in all of 4 years. You're on 7, and we're going to get to 10. We're going to get to 10 of 10. This includes a lady who murdered her 6-year-old handicapped child and fled to India. We got her in 2 months. This includes a narco trafficker. This includes a sex trafficker. This includes another first-degree murderer and gangbang. These people were on the run because of the prior administration's reckless policies that destroyed our communities. And you came in and with a mandate said, go after the worst of the worst. This is just the beginning. This is what happens when you let good cops be good cops at the FBI. Mr. President, I just want to thank you for your incredible leadership, our great partnership with prosecutors who know how to bring cases and make sure these arrests stick. And that's what the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General have led the charge across this country. Because arrests without prosecutions are meaningless. We are deterring criminals from doing this activity. We are preventing criminals from coming into America, and we are absolutely crushing violent crime like never before and defending this homeland, sir. And not to mention, I almost forgot this one. It took you, sir, 2 weeks to get the Abbey Gate bomber. Joe Biden had 4 years to look for him. You got him in 2 weeks, thanks to the interagency effort by the FBI and the CIA, went to Pakistan, and now 13 brave warriors who were sentencing murder because of disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal. They have justice, their families have a peace of mind, and we're going to continue to find the others, Mr. President. On behalf of the FBI, sir, I just want to thank you.
Thank you very much, Gates. Great job. Very good. Very impressive. Pam, would you like to say something, please?
President Trump, the men and women of law enforcement say two things to me repeatedly. First, you have taken the handcuffs off them and let them do their jobs, and you let cops be cops. That's why all this is happening. The director, the deputy director are working around the clock. All of these great men and women in the FBI, they have families at home, and they are working during a government shutdown right now. Many of them have small children. Many of them, I was talking to an agent this morning, many of them have babies at home, and they are working around the clock to not only keep our country, but our world safe. And that's what Operation Summer Heat did. Thank you, Director, and to the Deputy Director for everything you did on behalf of the Department of Justice, and you're going to continue to keep doing. And they set the stage for what we're doing in Memphis. You're going to hear a lot more about that, our joint task force next week, but they set the stage for Memphis. And last night alone in Memphis, there were almost 70 arrests. There were 12 guns seized, and there was a 70-year-old man arrested as a result of our operation in Memphis who raped a child under the age of 3. That one case makes everything we're doing worthwhile. So thank you all for being here on behalf of both of us. Thank you, President Trump.
Doug, you want to say something?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. President. So this is a great day, and I think there's stats that the director talked about which are important, but I want to give 2 examples of what Summer Heat has done that actually will apply hopefully to everybody in this room. The first is for over 4 years during the last administration, there was a hotel in a town, the middle of a town in Alaska, that was being run as a drug den. There were over 1,000 calls to 911 over four and a half year period. There were multiple violent crimes, drug dealers, overdoses, and murders at this one hotel, ruining a community. Summer Heat went in there. It's not only arrested all the participants that were controlling the hotel, but seized the hotel. And so that's one example of what Summer Heat means to everyday Americans that just want to live in peace. The second example is a large narcotics trafficking group that was selling fentanyl in the state of Washington. They were shipping fentanyl and using commercial aircraft, putting fentanyl pills and powder onto in suitcases, flying them from the southwest border, mostly Arizona, all the way to Washington. It had been going on for an extremely long time, and the entire organization was arrested. And I say those 2 examples because it's easy to look at the board and see 1,000 arrests. How much different is our communities now compared to the past 4 years? But there's actual life examples. Every one of these arrests means that our streets are safer, and that's because of the work of this administration, of President Trump and Director Patel. So I will tell you, Attorney General Bondi and I are together every day with Director Patel, figuring out ways that we can continue to do this work, and it's not going to stop. Like the Attorney General said, and like the President said, this is just the beginning, or phase 1, or a start, whatever you want to say, but it will continue on. So thank you, Mr. President, and thank you very much, Director Patel.
And Mr. President, just one last thank you from the men and women at the FBI. You found a way to get these individuals paid during a government shutdown, our 1811 agents. So on behalf of the FBI, it's a great debt that we owe you, sir. They're now allowed to pay for their families, so thank you.
And the military. Good.
That's right.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Any questions, please? Brian, go ahead.
Mr. President, first of all, I know the feedback I'm getting from the American people, but they want to say thank you. Law and order is not an option in this country. It's a mandate. So I know the American people thank you for that. In terms of the guns that have been taken off the street, do you have a number of how many guns were taken away from someone that had a prior felony or a previous crime, that perhaps we can prosecute that? Because I know that wasn't the case under Joe Biden.
We don't take guns off the streets of people that are allowed to have guns. So every gun that we're taking off the street is because it belongs to somebody who is not allowed to have it. Could be a felon, could be somebody who hears illegally. There's all sorts of conditions. But if there's a gun taken off the streets by the FBI, it's because the person who has it is not allowed to. It's not somebody who's lawfully allowed to have it. So every single one of those guns were taken off of people that aren't allowed to have it.
And not including the FBI, all of the other agencies. ATF alone since January 20th has removed over 25,000 illegal guns off our streets just since President Trump's been in office.
Mr. President, if I could follow up on that, could there be any further conversation to have national concealed carry applied to actual DC Like if you had a driver's license in Texas and you had a permit, of course you could drive.
Well, as you know, they've been talking about that for a long time. It's an interesting question. A lot of people feel strongly both ways, but we are talking about that, Brian. Thank you.
Mr. President, on Venezuelan boats, I want to ask you, why not have the Coast Guard stop them, which it is empowered by law to do? This way you can confirm who's on the boat and ensure that they're doing what you suspect.
Because we've been doing that for 30 years, and it has been totally ineffective. They have faster boats. Some of these boats are seriously, they're world-class speedboats, but they're not faster than missiles. But we've been trying to do that for years, and so much of the drugs, 25, 30% would come in through the seas. Right now we have, I would say, none coming in through the seas. In fact, I don't know about the fishing industry. If you want to go fishing, a lot of people aren't deciding to even go fishing. We've almost totally stopped it by sea. Now we'll stop it by land.
What's the next
But
step?
it never worked. It never worked when you did it in a very politically correct manner.
What's the next step in this war on cartels, and are you considering options? Are you considering strikes on land?
Well, I don't want to tell you exactly, but we are certainly looking at land now because we've got the sea very well under control. We've had a couple of days where there isn't a boat to be found. And that I view that as a good thing, not a bad thing. But we had tremendous amounts coming in by boats, by very expensive boats. They have a lot of money, very fast, very expensive boats that were pretty big. And the way you look at it is every boat that we knock out, we save 25,000 American lives. So every time you see a boat and you feel badly, you say, wow, that's rough. It is rough, but if you lose 3 people and save 25,000 people, these are people that are killing our population. Every boat is saving 25,000 lives, and you can see it. The boats get hit, and you see that fentanyl all over the ocean. It's like floating in bags. It's all over the place, and it's a tremendous. We're saving tremendous amounts of lives. Yeah,
Mr.
please.
President, on that issue.
I know you've talked about, I have a question for you, and then I also have a question for Director Patel. I know you talked about having some distaste for Boston recently. Is this one of the cities that you might be looking into, and can you give us a hint about other cities that you might be?
You're saying for where? For where?
For Boston.
Yeah, well, Boston has a bad mayor who at least is a reasonable IQ person. Most of them are low IQ. But and they're so bad. What's going on in Chicago is just, you'd think the guy would say, hey, look, we have a problem, Mr. President. Could you come in and straighten it out? We could have that done in a month if we had their cooperation. It's going to be done anyway, but we could have it done in a month. Yeah, Boston, she's got 4 areas that are, wrong. And, somebody said, would we think about taking the World Cup away from Boston if they don't straighten it out? And the answer is yes, we have the right to do that with FIFA. So if we think that LA is going to be bad, or we think that applies a little bit to the Olympics too, but we'll talk about FIFA first. FIFA is very hot. If we think there's any reason that, whether it's Boston or anywhere else, that they're not doing their job, we're going to take those World Cup games and move them someplace else.
Thank you. And then Director Patel, there's been so many conspiracy theories swirling around about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Do you have any updates for us, especially in light of all the online content that everyone's been talking about?
The only thing we deal with at the FBI and the Department of Justice is facts. And we delivered in record speed a manhunt to capture Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin in 33 hours. And if you put that in perspective to Luigi Mangione or the Boston mob, where they took them 5 days and a police officer lost their life in their manhunt. We are running out absolutely every single lead. And the best thing we can do to honor my friend Charlie Kirk's life is to make sure that everyone involved is prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And that's what we're focused on, investigating the facts, not trading in conspiracy theories.
Okay.
Mr. President, thank you so much.
Thank you.
In light of China's export curbs on rare earths, do you view India as a reliable partner going forward? And are you planning to meet Prime Minister Modi in Malaysia? Are you open to talks in terms of trade?
Sure. He's a friend of mine. We have a great relationship. He just said that 2 days ago, as you know. We have a great relationship. No, we were not happy with him buying oil from Russia, because that lets Russia continue on with this ridiculous war where they've lost 1.5 million people, by the way. Russia's lost 1.5 million people, soldiers mostly. This is a war that should have never started, but it's a war that Russia should have won in the first week, and they're going into the 4th year. And I want to see it stop. So I was not happy that India was buying oil. And he assured me today that they will not be buying oil from Russia. That's a big stop. Now I got to get China to do the same thing. You know, that is relatively easy compared to what we just did over the last week in the Middle East. Middle East was 3,000 years, and we got it done. This is 3 years, and I think we'll get it done. I think that President Putin, I think he wants to get it done. We'll see. There's a great animosity between him and Zelensky. You probably have noticed, right? And it's, I think it's hurting the process. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, thank you. Curious, why did you authorize the CIA to go into Venezuela? And is there more information you can share about these strikes on the alleged
Well, I can't
drug
do
busts in
that,
the
but
Caribbean?
I authorized for 2 reasons, really. Number one, they have emptied their prisons into the United States of America. They came in through the, they came in through the border. They came in because we had an open border policy. And as soon as I heard that, I said, a lot of these countries, they're not the only country, but they're the worst abuser. And they've entered they've allowed thousands and thousands of prisoners, mental institution, people from mental institutions, insane asylums, emptied out into the United States. We're bringing them back, but that's a really bad. And they did it at a level that probably not many countries have done it, but not like Venezuela. They were down and dirty. And the other thing are drugs. We have a lot of drugs coming in from Venezuela, and a lot of the Venezuelan drugs come in through the sea, so you get to see that. But we're going to stop them by land also.
Does the CIA have authority to take out Maduro?
Oh, I don't want to answer a question like that. That's a ridiculous question for me to be given. Not really a ridiculous question, but wouldn't it be a ridiculous question for me to answer? But I think Venezuela is feeling heat, but I think a lot of other countries are feeling heat too. We're not going to let this country, our country, be ruined because other people want to drop, as you say, their worst. They have given us their worst. They've loaded up our country with prisoners, with mentally ill people that are seriously ill, criminally ill. And we're not going to take it. And so, I mean, it's just one of those things. And I can tell you, we've taken care of the sea. There's nobody, and we're watching. We're watching. And if we see it, we'll save it. Yeah, please.
On the ships, though, sir, there are Republicans and Democrats up on the Hill concerned that in the briefings they've gotten about those attacks, they're not necessarily getting information about who was on them and what exactly was on those ships. Can you ensure that?
But they are given information that they were loaded up with drugs, and that's the thing that matters. When they're loaded up with drugs, they're fair game. And every one of those ships they're not ships, they're boats, they're speedboats. They're extremely fast, record-setting type speedboats that cost a lot of money, and they have a lot of money because they're drug sellers. But they know one thing, and they all have the same thing in common. There's drug dust. They call it drug dust. They call it fentanyl dust all over the boat after those bombs go off. And you can take along.
Attack them, though, that there are.
We know before. We know when they go out. We know we have much information about each boat that goes out. Deep, strong information. Yeah, please.
Sir, you're going to have Volodymyr Zelensky here this week. What is your message at this stage of the war for him? And shy of tomahawks.
To who is that?
For Zelensky.
Yeah.
And shy of tomahawks for Ukraine. Are you considering other options, and will you speak with Vladimir Putin?
No, we're looking at other options. We are. President Zelensky's coming in. I'm not a fan of the war. I'm not a fan of the way it started. It should have never happened. It wouldn't have started if I were president. The election was rigged. And because of that, we lost a lot of lives have been lost because of that war. Not American lives, but if I can save a lot of lives, that's why I'm in it. I want to save lives. I've had 8 wars. The Prime Minister of Pakistan got up the other day, said so beautifully, says, you saved millions of lives. He told that to a group of people right in this office. He said, the president saved millions of lives. And I think what he's referring to is the fact that that would have been with India nuclear war. That was getting very close. 7 planes, they don't talk about it, but 7 aircraft were shot down. In fact, we have the new ambassador to India right here. They're well represented. You better represent us, not them, okay? But Sergio's going to do a great job. He's going to do a great job. But no, we'll be talking about the war with him, and we'll be talking about, they want to go offensive. I'll make a determination on that, but they would like to go offensive. You know that. and we'll have to make a determination.
Can I follow up the question? Given you have the FBI director and attorney general here today, Jim Jordan has asked Jack Smith to appear in front of the House Judiciary.
You mean deranged, Jack? He's a deranged individual, yeah.
He's asked him to.
Well, they should. I'm surprised it takes so long. You know, we're talking about violent crime. What about the crime against a political opponent? That's what we have to talk about,
Jordan would
too.
like to understand the full extent to which the Biden-Harris Justice Department weaponized federal law enforcement. What do you think the committee will find out, Mr. Smith?
I think it was the worst weaponization of a political opponent in the history of the world, let alone this country. And I hope that everybody's, you know, they're involved in it. I'm not. I'm the one that had to suffer through it and ultimately win. But what they did was criminal. Deranged Jack Smith, in my opinion, is a criminal. And I noticed his interviewer was, I think that was Weissman. And I hope they're going to look into Weissman, too. Weissman's a bad guy. And he had somebody in Lisa, who was his puppet, worked in the office really as the top person. And I think that she should be looked at very strongly. There was tremendous criminal activity having to do. If we don't have fair elections in this country, we're not going to have a country. And I've said it from the beginning, fair elections and borders. And we need also fair press, because if you don't have fair press, it's very tough. And we've got the strongest border of anybody. Nobody has a border. We have a border where the numbers just came out again. You saw 0 people came in illegally. Now, we do take people into our country legally, but 0 people. But, you know, you're talking about a different subject. You're talking about political crime. They have committed massive political crime. I hope they're looking at Shifty Schiff. I hope they're looking at all these people. And I'm allowed to find out. I'm allowed to, you know, I'm, in theory, the chief law enforcement officer. But I have a very good, talented group. This is about something else. But I hope they're looking at political crime, because there's never been so much political crime against a political opponent as what I had to go through. They raided my house in Florida. It was an illegal raid. I have a lawsuit that was doing very well. And when I became president, I said, I'm sort of suing myself. I don't know. How do you settle the lawsuit? I'll say, give me X dollars, right? And I don't know what to do with the lawsuit. It's a great lawsuit. And now I won. It sort of looks bad. I'm suing myself, right? So I don't know. But that was a lawsuit that was very strong, very powerful. They raided illegally my house in Florida, Mar-a-Lago. They went through the drawers of my young son. They went through all of the cabinets and drawers of the first lady. She walked in, she said, wow, what happened? Because she's very meticulous. And this wasn't so meticulous. As she looked into the drawers and she saw everything a mess. It's what they did against a person that just got out of office. And then you look at these corrupt people. You look at Hunter Biden. You look at the signature. As an example, the Autopen. I just signed so many different things. An admiral, a 4-star general. I'm signing them left and right, the commissions. And by the way, I want to compliment John Thune and also Mike, our great speaker. But John Thune, all of a sudden, I'm getting these things by the hundreds. I was getting one every 2 weeks. It would have been 4 years before you got them in more. You would have had some that didn't even get in, all because of Democrat obstruction. So John Thune did a great job. I must have signed 200 into the administration. We're just about caught up. It's amazing. And so compliments to John. He had to do some things that were very tough to do that he didn't want to do, but he was forced to do it by the Democrats. And as far as the shutdown's concerned, this is a Democrat Schumer shutdown. And he's trying to do it to get relevance back into the party because he's a loser. I've known him all his life. He's always been sort of a loser, but an intelligent one. But I think he's losing IQ points with time. I think that happens. I hope it hasn't happened with me. I know if it did, you guys will let me know about it very quickly.
Question on violent crime, sir. Here in D.C., a judge has given the 2 teenagers that beat up ex-Doge staffer Big Balls probation.
It's incredible.
And no jail time. Is this justice?
Jeanine Pirro is doing a fantastic job, and she is beside herself because you have these radical left judges that they beat the hell out of this guy. And it was many people against this one guy who was really trying to protect his girlfriend. He didn't want his hooded over the door but they really beat him up badly. That just happened, right? Yes. Wow, that's terrible. I think the judge should be ashamed of himself. That's a big problem. You know, they can do their job and then they go into a court and the people are protected by these I don't know where they come from. Where do these people come from? Where do the judges come from? I want to compliment on behalf of Pam and Todd and all of us because, Cash, I think that Janine has done a fantastic job. And the case I heard was like flawless. It's a flawless case. They have them on tape. They have everything. And then a judge gives them a little probation. These are rough guys. And they're young. And if that happens, they're going to grow up. They're going to be real bad. They're going to cause a lot of problems. Yeah, please. Go ahead.
So, Sergey Gore has just gotten back from India.
Right.
What were the conversations like with Prime Minister Modi and the other?
I think they were great. He reported to me that he's a great man, you know. Modi is a great man. That he loves Trump. Now, I don't know if the word love, I don't want you to take that any different. I don't want to destroy his political career, okay? But you have to understand, I've watched India for years. It's an incredible country. And every single year you'd have a new leader. I mean, some would be in there for a few months. And this was year after year after year. And my friend has been there now for a long time. And he's assured me there will be no oil purchased from Russia. I don't know, maybe that's a breaking story. Can I say that? Would you say? There will be no oil. He's not buying his oil from Russia. It started. You know, you can't do it immediately. It's a little bit of a process. But the process is going to be over with soon. And all we want from President Putin is stop killing Ukrainians and stop killing Russians, because he's killing a lot of Russians. Again, it doesn't make him look good. It's a war that he should have won in 1 week, and he's now going into his 4th year. That does not make this big so-called war machine look good. But he could make a settlement. We're willing to settle. I thought we had a deal. The hatred of the two leaders is it's an obstacle. It's an obstacle. There's no question about it. But I thought we had a deal 2 months ago. Who would think I created peace in the Middle East and can't get the two guys to settle? But I think we'll get them. But if India doesn't buy oil, it makes it much easier. And they're not going to buy. They assured me they will. Within a short period of time, they will not be buying oil from Russia. And they'll go back to Russia after the war's over. Jennifer?
On the shutdown, sir, are FBI officials being paid right now? Are all the FBI employees being paid? And are all
Well, that's what I understand. I hope so.
Thanks to your great work, Mr. President, the 1811 special agents at the FBI are going to receive their paychecks.
Got a lot of people paid, actually. We got the people that we want paid, okay? And we want the FBI paid, we want the military paid. We got the people that we want paid. And I'll tell you, the Democrats, they don't talk about this. You know, we're getting rid of programs that we didn't like, but that were negotiated in, but we didn't like. We're terminating those programs, and they're going to be terminated on a permanent basis. And it's thousands of people, and it's billions of dollars. We're getting rid of a lot of things that we never wanted because of the fact that they made this stupid move. And they don't want to talk about it. You know, they have their day coming up. I hear very few people are going to be there, by the way. But they have their day coming up, and they want to have their day in the sun. But they should really make a deal. So what we're doing, I mean, they call him Darth Vader, but he's actually a very nice person, Russell Vogt. But Russell Vogt is really terminating tremendous numbers of Democrat projects. There's not only jobs, I mean, the project in Manhattan, the project in New York, it's billions and billions of dollars that Schumer has worked 20 years to get. It's terminated. Tell him it's terminated, Jennifer. All right.
On Hamas, sir, what is your understanding of the pace of returning the deceased hostages? Are you pleased?
Well, they're looking for them. Absolutely. They're looking. So we have the living hostages all back. They returned some more today. It's a gruesome process. I almost hate to talk about it. But they're digging. They're actually digging. There are areas where they're digging and they're finding a lot of bodies. Then they have to separate the bodies. You wouldn't believe this. And some of those bodies have been in there a long time. And some of them are under rubble. They have to remove rubble. But there are graves, and some are in tunnels that died in tunnels that are way down under the earth. And the tunnels are like 3 feet. Can you believe it? 3 feet high. They lived like this for a long period of time. It's a horrible atrocity. At the same time, we, meaning Israel, but I knew everything they were doing pretty much. I knew most of the things they were doing, but they've killed probably 70,000 of these people, Hamas. And I said, it's time now. So we'll see what happens. We'll also see what happens. Your next question is going to be the weapons. We want the weapons to be given up, sacrificed, and they've agreed to do it. Now they have to do it. And if they don't do it, we'll do it.
Head of CENTCOM today suggests that Hamas needs to hurry up and disarm and follow your comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
That it was the head of CENTCOM saying that. Is that not a signal to Hamas, to the rest of the world, that at some point the U.S. military may more directly engage?
We won't need the U.S. military. We won't need it.
Why not just you?
Because we're very much involved in it. If we weren't involved, there wouldn't be peace. If we didn't destroy the nuclear capability of Iran, that deal would have never happened for two reasons. The Arab nations would not have felt bold enough to do it because you have a very powerful, at that time, Iran is not powerful anymore, between what Israel and us did, because, the attack was, if you look at it, we helped them very much. They will be the first to tell you, including shooting down thousands of drones that were coming into Israel. We shot them down. We were shooting them down like it was target practice, but we shot down thousands of drones and missiles also going into Israel. But between what we did to Iran that way with the, conventional, we will call it, and what see that beautiful plane, that B-2, I noticed it on the desk. I always thought it was beautiful, but I never understood it. Now I understand it. It took in hundreds of thousands of bombs in the form of two, but hundreds of thousands of pounds of bombs. And every single bomb hit perfectly. Then they sent Tomahawks in. They sent 30 Tomahawks on top of it. And that was totally, CNN said, well, maybe it wasn't as bad as, as Trump said, because I said obliterated. Obliterated is not a strong enough word, actually. And you saw the Atomic Energy Commission came out and said the word obliteration is very, very, think of it. They came in under potential fire. They entered Iran airspace late at night in the dark, no moon. The moon was low for a reason. What time we picked it. Couldn't see anything. And they hit every target and they weren't hit. Nobody saw that plane. That plane is stealth. Nobody saw it. The problem with that is it may be stealth today, but tomorrow it won't be. And we just ordered about 20 brand new B-2 bombers. It's unbelievable as a weapon. I know Putin, when I was riding with him in Alaska, we passed a lot of them. And he said, that really did the trick. I said, yeah, it did. It's amazing. The flying wing. It's
no reason for the U.S. military to get involved in Gaza.
No, I don't see that. No, I think we're going to handle it very well. We'll be helping Israel. But we have other countries that are now. We signed, many countries signed. And many of those countries relatively are very strong military powers. And Hamas has no support. See, Hamas had the support of Iran. And now Iran says, don't get us involved. The last time they got them involved didn't work out too well. So they used to have the support of Iran. Today, Iran they're trying to survive. When I heard the reports 2 weeks ago, Iran's looking to build a nuclear weapon. I said, don't worry about it. They got a lot of things they want to do before nuclear weapons. I said, the last thing they want to do is a nuclear weapon. It didn't work out. And if they did a nuclear weapon before they got even close, that site would be attacked and it would be wiped out. Yeah.
Mr. President, you're meeting with President Xi in a few weeks.
Yeah.
If you can't come to an agreement or a deal at that meeting, are we in for a sustained trade war with China?
Well, you're in one now. Look, we have 100% tariff. If we didn't have tariffs, we would be exposed as being a nothing. We would have no defense. They've used tariffs on us, but we've never had anybody sitting in that chair that felt the need to do it. And they've allowed us to be $37 trillion in debt, et cetera, et cetera. Tariffs are a very important tool for our defense, for our national security. If we don't have tariffs, we're not going to have national security. As an example, if you look at Pakistan and Iran, I told them I was in the midst of negotiating a trade deal with Iran, and Pakistan was going to be in line. And because of tariffs, they all want to negotiate much differently. We're making a good deal. And then I heard that they're shooting at each other. And I said during one of my conversations, are you guys going to go to war? 2 nuclear powers. We are thinking about, I said, here's the deal. You go to war, I'm going to put a 200% tariff. I'm going to stop you from doing any business in the United States. I said it to both of them. Within 24 hours, the war ended. That would have been a nuclear war. And again, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, who was here 2 weeks ago, said that that man saved many millions of lives in front of a whole group of people because he thought it was going to be war. But when it came to war or having to pay massive tariffs, the tariffs overrode. That's why it's so important. Not only the money, we're taking in trillions of dollars, not only the money, the power to keep peace, the power to be used for good is enormous. But a lot of people didn't understand tariffs. It's also made us very rich. We have a big case coming up in the Supreme Court, and I will tell you, that's one of the most important cases in the history of our country. Because if we don't win that case, we will be a weakened, troubled, financial mess for many, many years to come. I don't even know if survivable is a good term. And if we do, we're going to be the most powerful economic country in the world. And all we're doing is using them as a defense against what took place for many years. China would charge us tariffs. It was incredible, but we weren't allowed to charge. We're allowed to do whatever we want. We just had presidents that didn't want to do it for whatever reason. And it was nothing. But of the 8 wars, I was saying 7, of the 8 wars, I would say tariffs are directly responsible for me ending 6 of them, 5 or 6. Without the tariffs, you have wars raging all over the world. With the tariffs, other than Russia, we have no wars out there. And we've made a lot of good friends, too. Tariffs are so important to our national security. If we don't have tariffs, we don't have national security. Our country would suffer a level that, because they use so strongly on us. As an example, the European Union, they won't take our cars, they won't take our agriculture, they won't take anything, but they send their cars in, Mercedes, BMW, Volkswagen, by the millions. We don't send any cars. They don't take them. They were tariffing us out. Agricultural products, they don't take our agriculture. They want their farmers to do it. I understand that. But it was very unfair, and they were tariffing our product. They're keeping out by using tariffs. And we didn't use them, but I used them. And now we made one of the great deals with your $650 billion they pay us. And we've evened it out. It's really a good thing to see. And you have to understand, they've all signed. Japan, South Korea. I mean, South Korea, $350 billion up front. Japan, $650 billion. And they've all agreed to it. They're all happy. But before, it was a total ripoff. And if we don't have the use of tariffs, we have no national security. This country will have no financial security, will not have national security. And the people that brought the lawsuit are people that are aligned with foreign nations that are now being treated fairly, as opposed to just ripping us off and ripping us asunder. So, but if we are not allowed to use what other people use against us, there's no defense. It'll be a disaster for America. That's why I think I'm going to go to the Supreme Court to watch it. I've not done that, and I had some pretty big cases. I think it's one of the most important cases ever brought, because we will be defenseless against the world. Okay.
You'll go to the tariff case?
Did you have one? Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to ask you about the Georgia Senate race. I know it's very early, but there's several Republicans in that field that are vying for your endorsement.
A lot of good people in that field.
Yes.
No, I know all of them, actually. I haven't made a decision on that, but you have some very good people in the Georgia Senate race.
Well, Governor has endorsed.
No, I know the governor has, and he's spoken to me about it a lot. He likes that candidate a lot, and I understand that. I haven't made a decision yet, but I'm following that race very carefully. I think it's very important for Georgia to get a real senator, because the senator they have now is a horrible senator. He allows all the crime, all the borders. You have open borders. I mean, his whole philosophy is a disaster. That's not representative of the people of Georgia. I know the people of Georgia. I won Georgia 3 times, but they say twice. Okay. I won it very big the last time, and I won it big the first time, and I won it big the second time, but we had criminals that didn't allow. I mean, I hope they're going to go into that. I hope they go into the votes which are being stored in Fulton County and take a real look at those votes, okay? Because I won it the second time too. But I know Georgia very well. I love Georgia. Those people are great, and they deserve a good senator because the man they have now is a weak, ineffective person. Okay.
President, I wonder what you make of it. By the way, you won Georgia 3 times.
I agree. Do you agree with me?
I
He's
do.
the media.
For someone that
He's the
spends
media.
a lot of time in Georgia, I believe you won that. I really have a question about
You know, the word believe isn't strong enough, right? You
I
know.
There you go.
It's true. I know I won too. We have the great Newt Gingrich. Newt, you agree with us? Good. Otherwise, I'd have him dismissed immediately from the room. You know, his wife, as you know, is becoming an ambassador to a great country, Callista. So congratulations. And we're going to take a picture. And the only reason I'm doing it, he speaks so well of me. He said, I'll go down as the greatest president in history. And then he blew it. He said, I'm not sure if I put him above Washington or Lincoln. So I'm not that happy about that, dude.
I've got a question about the weaponization of the DOJ. The media often says your department is weaponizing the DOJ.
Yeah. That's the opposite.
It's the opposite. Todd, you represented President Trump and probably the greatest weaponization of the DOJ by Alvin Bragg. You know firsthand, if you can describe what you saw under the Biden administration and how they weaponized the DOJ.
Well, I mean, I think it's hard to describe what happened in those last 4 years against President Trump. Alvin Bragg, a local prosecutor, his office staffed by someone in New Jersey. Jack Smith, picked as a special counsel, staffs his entire office with DOJ prosecutors. And then there are countless things that happen. All in writing, most of them on the docket, that require no explanation except a complete abomination of the place that the Attorney General might run now and director itself. So when people talk about this department weaponizing, it's embarrassing. Because there's no scenario in which you can look at what we're doing, restoring justice, doing the right thing in every single case, and say that that's weaponization, and yet remain eerily silent about what happened for the past 3 years. I mean, you read these articles and giggle, because it cannot be true that people really think that what they did to him, not once, not twice, I'm still counting 3, 4 times, but we're the ones that are weaponizing. So this man is not weaponizing the Department of Justice. We're not weaponizing the Department of Justice. It's the opposite. I mean, and also, nobody questions what I'm saying because it's true, because we all lived the past 4 years. So listen.
They never want to bring up the details, but I watch the fake news, and he's weaponized, and he wants to send them to prison. He wants all this. They indicted me like 5 times. I took a mugshot. Who would have thought it turned out to my favor because it was a good shot? But I had to take a mugshot. It's right out there in the door. New York Post, front page of every paper in the world. I had a mugshot. They wanted to send me, nobody says that. They say, he's acting very, very tough. He's acting unfair. Let me tell you, if they've been nice to anybody, it's to those criminals, because they are so good having to do with all of the things we're talking about today with violent crime. But if anything, I think this Justice Department has been so respectful of the law, because the other Justice Department with Rita or Lisa and all of that scum, real scum, what they did to the political opponent of a guy that has a seriously low IQ. Now, in his case, it was low based on his career, but it got real low, okay? It was descending rapidly. But what they did to go after his political opponent is legendary, worse than any third world country, banana republic. And what we're doing is nothing. Are you kidding? Nothing. They write stories. Why aren't they doing this? And we'll leave. I don't have to leave it up to them, but I choose to at this moment, at least. But there's never been anybody treated in the history of politics. You know, they say the 2 worst treated presidents by the media, etc., was that man right there, the late, great Abraham Lincoln, and this guy right there, Andrew Jackson. They say Andrew Jackson was treated terribly. They give him number 1 and number 2, but that was before I came along, Newt. I say I have number 1 times 10. Nobody's been treated like I've been treated. And I did a great job. You know, we had a great first term. And we had one of the most successful economies in history, et cetera. I rebuilt the military. We did a tremendous amount. The last part, we had a horrible thing called COVID, and we handled that well. We made ventilators for nations all over the world. We did a great job. Probably never get credit for it. Look at the therapeutics, the Regeneron, all the different things, the vaccines, all the things we did. We did a great job, but we had to focus on that. But we had the best economy in the history of our country. We're blowing it away right now. Look at the stock market. Hit another all-time high today. That's 48 days out of the few days that I've served. 48 days have already hit record highs. And we have, maybe most importantly, the number, we have now, I was saying 17, it's over $18 trillion is being poured into our country. It's because of the election and because of tariffs. Without the tariffs, you wouldn't have probably 18 cents. It's because of the tariffs, because there are no tariffs if they build in our country. And they understand that. So we have medical companies coming over. We have the AI. We're dominating China in AI. Everybody said that's impossible. We're dominating. I'm letting these massive plants build their own electric generating plants. They're becoming utilities in addition to everything. Maybe they'll make more money with that. Who knows? But they're building their own electric because we have an old grid. You wouldn't be able to do that. And we're dominating China. We're dominating with AI, which seems to be the new big thing. That's the new internet. That's the new whatever. So we're very happy with the job we're doing. I'm very happy with the job they're doing. But when you tell me about attacking a political opponent, there's never been, and I'm a legitimate opponent. I watch my son. He's got the #1 best-selling book now. My son, Eric, is a wonderful kid. That guy spent so much time with subpoenas. He got more subpoenas than anybody in the history of our country. Think of it. And he's an innocent, good boy. He's a good kid. He's always been a good kid. All of my children are good. They went through hell. My children went through federal grand juries on a hoax. Think of it. You have Adam Schiff and Hillary Clinton and others make up a hoax and then wanting to so they know it's a hoax, and they go before the press, say Donald Trump Jr. will go to jail because of what he's done with Russia. I'll never forget, I get a call from my son, Don, and he said, Dad, I'm being accused of something with Russia. I don't know anything about Russia. He didn't know anything about it. Think of it, how bad they are. They say he'll go to prison for the rest of his life. He knew nothing about it. On a hoax, the Russian hoax, Russia hoax, on a story that they made up. And they made it up in order to explain why Hillary Clinton lost an election that she lost by pretty good numbers. The second one, actually the second one was even better, but the third one, this one was too big to rig. It was just too big to rig. They would have rigged. They tried to rig it. But think of it. They want to send my children to jail, but they were after Don in particular. I'll never forget Adam Shifty Schiff, a total crooked guy, lying in Congress, making up a phone conversation that I have with you, totally made up. Then when he heard it was taped, he wanted to disappear. And Nancy Pelosi went crazy because they wanted to impeach me based on the conversation that was made up. When they heard the tape, everybody, I won it unanimously in the Republican Party. I got every single vote, something that never happens, and I beat it. But think of it, they want to put my son in jail for something that they made up. So they know they made it up. And they say he will serve the rest of his life in prison. These are sick, bad people. And don't tell me about us going after them. If anything, we've been very, very soft. I wouldn't be that soft, I'll tell you that. Thank you very much, everybody.
Well, there we have it. He letting the media have it as always. Not like Joe Biden. No questions as he stumbles out. Trump will sit there and answer all the questions you want for quite a while. So that wraps up the show. Don't forget, if you guys want to get in, you only have a day and a half. We're going to be doing one show on Friday. And that's Rachel's birthday, by the way. And so It'll be a morning show. I'm not sure what time. I'll know more tomorrow. But if you guys want to get in, we got one. You get to choose one of the freedom hats right here. You get to choose black or white. It has Charlie Kirk on the side, the American flag on the other side. Both of them. You get to choose from white or black. So if you guys want to enter, you know what to do. Venmo at Oreo Josh, Cash App $ Oreo Army, GiveSendGo.com/Oreo 2024. And our Zelle link will be coming up here on the screen. All our donations, it's $10 per entry. If you do $20, that's 2 entries. $30, that's 3 entries. We used all the funds to keep us on the road and pay the bills, guys. So thank you. Have a great afternoon. And we're going to go return the rental car finally. And if anything happens tonight, we should be able to bring it live from the Oreo Express studio back home. Take care, guys.
The Oreo Express, where truth don't hide and we don't second guess. Unapologetic, we're bold and we're loud, shining light on the left shady crowd. Oreo Express, rolling down the track, exposing the lies, ain't no turning back. Conservative fire, we're speaking the truth. At Oreo Express, this one's for you. So grab your boots, let's take a stand for freedom, faith, and the heart of this land. Oreo Express.